Hello, and today we are going to be talking about present tense AR verbs. So remember that we learned that verbs fall into one of four categories: regular, irregular, first person, irregular, stem changing, or irregular. We are going to be learning how to conjugate regular present tense verbs. Now, this is a little bit more complicated than it is in English. However, it is much more formulaic and patterned than it is in English. So it has a kind of system, and if we learn that system, then it will make sense. There are many different examples of AR verbs, such as bailar, which means to dance, or comprar, or tocar, right? If we could use that to play an instrument. These are examples of the verbs in the infinitive. So that means that the verb is not conjugated. For more information on infinitives, you can go to the video on infinitives and maybe watch it or watch it again, if you are still confused about the difference between a conjugated verb and a verb in the infinitive. For now, let's try to conjugate an AR verb in the infinitive. Now you will remember, right, that when we were talking about infinitives, we learned that verbs have two parts. They have a stem and they have an ending. So for example, if we have a regular AR verb, it will have two parts. It will have the stem, which is this part here, and it has the ending here. So these are our two parts of the verb. The fact that we are in a regular pattern tells us that the stem will remain unchanged, and then the AR will form into a present tense, right? So what the ending tells us is that we are in the present tense, and it will also tell us who is speaking. So this we can always remember. Whatever ending it is that we have here, whether it be one of these six of the regular present tense AR endings, it is going to tell us two things. One, who is the speaker? And it will also tell us where we are in time. That is to say, what tense we are in. That is that we are in the present tense. So in this case, we are in the present. That's what our ending will always tell us, right? It's important to note that it's going to tell us who the speaker is, because based on who the speaker is, we will choose one of these different six possibilities. Let's say that we had a scenario that we wanted to conjugate a verb, and we didn't know what that verb meant, but we wanted to figure out how to use it anyway. Let's say we were at a test. Well, we can figure out how to conjugate a verb without even knowing what it means, because it's always going to follow the exact same pattern. So remember when we did our video on infinitives that we said, step one, you had to remove the infinitive. So if we had this verb, for example, and we wanted to put it in this sentence, we know that we have to conjugate it. We can't just write it in the infinitive in here. Well, we can, but it would be wrong. And so we know that we have to remove the infinitive part of the verb. So we have to remove this AR, and we are just left with the root of the verb, like this. So now we know we have to figure out who is speaking. That is to say, who the subject is. So in this case, the subject is yo. So in step three, we have to find the ending. Well, we know that yo, because of our personal pronouns, is a first person singular pronoun. That means that we will choose an ending that matches the pronoun. So we will choose a first person singular ending, which is o. And then we will put them together. So this will become ayudo. So we would put this in our little space just like that. We can do exactly that with every single AR regular tense present verb that we have. We can follow that exact same formula. We can take off the infinitive, we can find who's speaking, find the ending, and then just put it together. That's exactly how you conjugate any regular present tense verb, whether it be AR, ER, or IR. Okay, now that we have learned how to conjugate AR verbs together, what I would like for you to do before you come to class is, on a note card, conjugate one verb that is an AR verb. You can find this in your book. There's a list of AR verbs for you to use. Obviously, you can't use the example that I've given here on the board, but I would like for you to take one out of the list of verbs that are given to you there and conjugate it on the front. On the back, what I would like for you to do is to use that verb in a sentence. So, for example, Eliana compra zapatos. So, that's what I would like for you to do. And when you get to class, just pop it on the corkboard and I will check it whenever I have time. And as always, be prepared to share just in case I decide to call on you. Thanks, and I will see you in class.